Hi, welcome back to the channel. I'm so glad you're here. Welcome to part 2 of the Oldies Station tutorial on this old 45 harmony guitar. The song's by 21 Pilots. And today we're getting into the verse section. So last video we covered the intro and now we're going into the verse section. So this has a couple extra chords in it, but basically it starts with the A, and that's the part that goes, and we'll do that kind of light strumming part. Only consistency, and I'll do this a little slower just so that you can follow along, but we're playing the A chord, only consistency, then to the D2, in your periphery is fear. That goes to the major 7th. Fear in the bridge of your nose. And on nose, we go back to the D2. And here's where we do that little switch. Remember I showed you in the last video? Okay, so if you practice that from the first video, and then it repeats. And as you move about, you learn to tune them out, what they say. So, and as you move about, that's the A. You learn to tune them out, that's the D2 again. So we're just repeating the loop. And as you move about, you learn to tune them out, what they say. That's the major 7th. Continue to grow, back to the D2, and then that little switch. Okay, and back to the A. Fear of the past, and pain. That's the D2 again. Back to the, and then to the major 7th. Future's coming fast. Right? So I did that little switch. So we're basically playing this whole loop 4 times, I think, through. In the season of purging, there's the D2, purging things you used to love. And then the major 7th. Everything must go. So that doesn't do that little switch that time through. But now we slide up, and here's a new chord. F sharp minor. Now, do you remember when in the last lesson I showed you how you can play a D2, and if you just put your middle finger down on the 2nd string, on the 6th fret, that creates a D minor, and we turned that D minor into the major 7. So this fingering, you already know, it's the same fingering with your pinky, ring finger, and middle finger. Same shape of a chord. But we're going to move that all the way up from the 5th, 7th, 9th, up to the 9th fret. And that's where we're going to bar with our index finger. And that is an F sharp minor, okay? And what we're going to do is we're just going to strike that once and then slide down 2 frets to here. So your index finger should be barring across the 7th fret. But we're going to play a different chord here. Now, this one is tricky because it is actually an E chord, but how I do it, how I'm able to play that over time, my body, I guess, has adapted. And many pro guitar players learn to do this, but it's almost like gymnastics for your pinky finger. So what's happening is I'm barring with my index finger on the 7th fret. And I'm giving it some help with my middle finger. So I'm pressing down with my index finger, yes, but I'm also kind of giving it some help with my other with my middle finger, because the strings are just so high, and as you move up the neck on this guitar anyway, they just get higher and higher and higher, and you need more strength to press down. So I'm pressing down like that. But then, to get the E chord, this is creating a bar, but my pinky is creating a little 3-note bar as well. And what's happening is I'm actually covering the notes from the 2nd string on the 9th fret, and then the 3rd string and the 4th string on the 9th fret, all with my pinky. But the hardest part is I'm bending my pinky like that. So what's happening is I'm able to lift it up enough behind in this part of my finger that the first string can sound through. So I don't know if you can see what I'm doing. I'm also actually supporting it with my ring finger too. It's kind of pushing down on my pinky as well to give it some more strength. So that becomes the E. So you can see how that high note is ringing because I have this bent up and it's letting that note through. If I just laid it flat, it would go, I can't even push down that hard with just that finger, but we want this, which is the E. So we're going to strike the F sharp minor once, and then just go down another 2 frets with the exact same shape as the E chord, but 2 frets down it becomes a D chord. So there. So that's those shots. And then it goes into make an oath and make mistakes, that part. And then again, that repeats. Sorry. Start a streak you're bound to break. When dark. On the word dark, we play the A chord and we strike it once. Dark. And I'm just with those nails. Darkness. Now, on the second part of darkness, on ness, I play a C sharp 7. Now, this just sounded right when I was learning it from the 21 Pilots version, but it could be wrong. So, take this all with a grain of salt. So I'm striking the A once, and then this C sharp 7. Now, how that's played is the same way we played. Do you remember when we played the D2? Okay, just slide that whole D2 down 1 fret, but you're going to move your pinky down to the 2nd string instead of the 3rd string, okay? So that creates a C sharp 7, dominant 7. So then that part goes, and then right after that, we're playing an F sharp minor. Now, you're probably wondering, wait a second, we played an F sharp minor way, way up here. Well, on the guitar, there's several places you can play the same chord, and they're just called different inversions. And so if I play this F sharp minor, I'll just find it again. Now, I'll just let you know, I don't have fret markers on the top of this, so it's hard to see where the frets are. So if I'm kind of floundering as to which fret I'm on, just be patient with me because I don't have any point of reference on this old guitar. But let me see. So that's an F sharp minor. Now get that sound in your head. Here's the same chord, F sharp minor, in a different inversion. Same chord. Sounds deeper, right? Down here because it is. But we're going to play that F sharp minor. Now here's what we're doing with that. Do you remember how you played the D2 shape here? It's the same shape, only on the second fret, so you're barring the second fret, but all you're doing is you're moving your ring finger and your pinky up from the 3rd and 4th string to the 4th and 5th string. That becomes an F sharp minor. So that's an F sharp minor, that's an F sharp minor. Just use them in different ways. So that is the next chord in this walk down part. So now we have the 3 chords of this walk down, which is A, the C sharp 7, F sharp minor, and then we go down to a standard E chord. Okay, now if you remember from the first intro lesson, when I said we were playing an A chord, I said it has an E shape. The reason is because these 3 fingers are creating this E shape like this. You can play it like that, or you can play it with these different fingers, right? Now the reason why it's like that, it's called a movable chord because you can play it here, you can play it here, you can play it here, you can move it all the way down. Now what happens if I move it past the 1st fret? Well, the nut, this is called a nut, it becomes my finger essentially, and that's an E chord. Now we don't have to play it like that, although some people choose to for different reasons. There is reasons. If you want to walk up or do something with your thumb, some people play, I don't play that way, but there's a reason why some people will choose to play that way. But I play E instead of with those same fingers that way. I play it with my index finger on the 1st fret of the 3rd string, my ring finger on the 2nd fret of the 4th string, and my middle finger on the 2nd fret of the 5th string. That's how I play E. So that's the next chord in this walk down. So now we have 4 chords. We have the A, the C sharp 7, C sharp minor, yeah, C sharp 7, then the F sharp minor, and then the E. Now we're going to play a D2. Now you're probably saying, wait a minute, same as the F sharp minor, we played a D2 already and it was way up here. Same principle, it's a different inversion. So that sounds the same as that, right? Just different fingerings. Now, this one's actually a little easier to play because you don't have to bar everything. But all I'm doing is, normally you would play a D with your index on the 2nd fret of the 3rd string, your ring finger on the 3rd fret of the 2nd string, and your middle finger would be tucked down here underneath on the 2nd fret of the 1st string. That's a D chord. But if you lift off your middle finger on the 1st string, that becomes a D2. Now when I do this figure, lots of people play D2 exactly like that. And that's so handy because you can do all kinds of cool things with it like that. But I think, let me just see, when I come down and do the walk down, no, I do it that same way. Yeah, so there's your D2. Same as the D, just with the middle finger lifted off. Okay, so that's that walk, and I can't remember the words just offhand, but it's that walk that comes down And then the final little part of that is the part that says push on through. And what I'm doing there is I'm just plucking octaves. So I'm taking my thumb and my middle finger nail, and I am playing the 7th. So I'm playing the 4th string on the 7th fret with my ring finger, and my thumb takes that note. And then on the 1st string on the 5th fret, I'm putting my index finger down on that fret. So those are octaves. La, 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 la. Okay, so it's the same note, just an octave apart. But then I pluck those at the same time, almost like you're squeezing your fingers together, because they do touch. So that's push, that is on the word push. And then on slides up just literally 2 frets. So hold your fingers in that position and just slide them up 2 frets. That's for the word on. Push on. And then slide up another 2 frets. Through. And this is what the piano, I believe, takes that part on the actual song. Push on through. So it's just like that. Cool, huh? Okay, so that is that whole section. And it wraps around back into the verse again. So the second verse. Now, the only difference that I do is when we go into that second verse on the 21 Pilots track, I believe that's when they bring in the drums or some additional instruments. And so what I do is I play that with a little more attack. Push on through. So I'm right. So push on through, and then and so that little section that wraps around into the next verse is just that same figure as the other verse. So it's just that the A and then the D2, push on through, then the A major 7th, and then that little switch back and forth from the D2, and then we're right straight into that next verse. And before you know, you lose some people close, forcing you to manage your pace. It's the same as the first verse. Found your capacity for love and tragedy, embracing how things always change. You've had your turns, relative pain, little less concern, there's nothing in the tank. In a season of lessons learned in giving up, you learn what you can and can't take. Back. So all identical. Same. Add some years, build some trust. Start to feel your eyes adjust when darkness rolls on you. Push on through. So that's all exactly the same. So you're repeating that entire section. And so that will be it for this video. That's the verse sections. In the next video, we'll cover this whole bridge section. That part. And yeah, I mean, feel free to watch the original video. I'll have it linked anyway, so you can revisit that and hear kind of my version of it at speed, because I'm doing this a lot slower, or trying to anyway. I hope it's manageable. But anyways, thanks so much for joining me for this. It's a lot of fun. And yeah, if you like this, please subscribe, share it if you could. I'd be so grateful. And give it a like. And then for the next one, we'll dive into that bridge section. Anyways, take care. Thanks so much, and God bless.